The Seattle Seahawks open their 2024 season at home against the Denver Broncos. All right, everybody, it is time. It is time for Disembodied Head Brendan, and it is time for a real game preview on this channel. Been a while since we had one, because those preseason pregame previews, like I do them, but it's always kind of weird because you're not 100% sure who's going to play, and even if you do know who's going to play, you don't know how much they're going to play. You don't know who's really going to be into it. You don't know if the coaching staffs are going to show anything of actual value. And we've heard from the coaches and some of the players that the team has been very vague and very general with what they've done in the preseason compared to what they plan to do when the season actually starts. So it's kind of hard to really say with your whole chest that we're going to see this and we're going to see that. But now, taking on the Denver Broncos, we can say it. So let's talk about this game the best that we can. I know that the season just started. I know we don't really know who's good or who's bad yet. I know that we've only seen, as of now, 2 games be played across the entire league. But saying what can be said about this game, let's dissect what can be dissected. So before I get into that, I hope you like this video. If you do, please click the thumbs up button down below. Helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want daily Seahawks content. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Click the bell for notifications every time a video gets uploaded. Those are the best ways to help support the channel. All right. So after this game is over tomorrow, probably during the Sunday night football game, sometime during that actually very interesting Sunday night football game, I will be going live here on YouTube to discuss things as a post-game. So keep an eye out for that. I should be posting a post-game video within about half an hour of the game ending. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, we still have 28 hours to wait before we kick off here. So there are some interesting angles to this game, right? Of course, it's the NFL. There's not a huge discrepancy in ability and talent between any team and any other team. But if you're a serious team this year, this is 100% a game that you need to win. The Denver Broncos are starting a rookie quarterback, never played in the NFL before. A quarterback who was quarterback 6 in his own draft. A quarterback who was not even one of the top 5 highest drafted quarterbacks in his own class. A quarterback who many people considered to be a 3rd round type of prospect or even a 4th round level prospect. We are facing a team that is currently sitting underneath a massive, well, not underneath, but sitting with a giant millstone around their neck. That would actually be the best way to put it, of the Russell Wilson contract dead money hit. This is a team that during the offseason leading up to the regular season made multiple moves that indicated their minds are not fully on the present. Their minds are on the future. Good, talented, middle-aged or slightly above middle-aged players left so the team would have room for young players that might be good one day. So you're playing them at home. You're getting them in a circumstance where they should be at their weakest. This is a game that you need to win if you want to be taken seriously. So, simply put, just to lead it off, I look at this game, I look at a Denver defense that doesn't really have any superstar power outside of Patrick Surtain. I look at a Denver offense that has some real deficiencies right now at wide receiver, probably tight end, and possibly running back. And I think to myself, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. And I think If you're watching this video as a Seahawks fan, you should feel good about it too. So, just straight up, I'll go ahead and lead with that. If this is a serious team right now, you find a way to win this game. In theory, it should be a pretty good matchup for you. Our defense and the way that our defense is supposed to play against a rookie quarterback facing his first ever NFL action, that should be something that you're really excited to sink your teeth into if you're Mike Macdonald and the personnel on this defense. And if you're Geno Smith and Ryan Grubb and DK Metcalf in this offense, you should be looking at a defense that was occasionally okay last year, but was, for the most part, below average. And you should be thinking, this is a great first challenge for me. So I can say whatever about this game, and I will have a lot to say about it. But bottom line is, I expect to win, and you should win. So, thinking about this Seahawks offense, I know this is going to be a pass-first team because that's where the personnel is concentrated, and that's what our offensive coordinator has shown a propensity to want to do in his career from college, of course. I know this will probably be a pass-first team, so you won't catch me saying this very often this year, but I would really like to see this team dedicate themselves to running the ball in this game. You're playing a Denver Broncos team that doesn't have a lot that intimidates me in that front seven. Zach Allen's pretty good, right? Zach Allen, nice player from the Cardinals. He had a nice year for Denver last year. They've got some interesting edge players, guys like Baron Browning and Nick Bonito. But you've got the opportunity to run the ball against a defense that is being led by Cody Barton. You've got the opportunity to run the ball against a team that doesn't have a dominant nose tackle, doesn't have a lot of beef up front. You've got the opportunity to just drive the ball down their throat with Ken Walker, Zach Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh. I want to take that opportunity in this game. I may not say this very much the rest of this year, but let's run the ball here. One of the ways Denver wins this game is by forcing early turnovers. I'm thinking about that Broncos game against the Bills last year, where the Bills were a much, much, much better team. And the fact that the game was close, given the fact that they lost the turnover battle 4-0, proves that. But Denver won that turnover battle 4-0. I think it was either 4-0 or 5-0. Therefore, they won that game. So I'm not looking to try to impress anybody by challenging Pat Surtain, who is probably the best corner in football. I think he's at the very least at the very tip of the conversation. I'm not looking to prove how tough I am by going at him. And I know we'd love to see Metcalf beat him, and maybe that'll happen at some point this game. I know we'd love to send Metcalf at him, put up some big numbers on him, and start the season out like that. But I don't feel some burning need to just burn him for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns to prove a point. And they got a nickel corner, Jaquan McMillan, I believe his name is. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Who is, I think, a really good nickel corner. And I'm not necessarily looking to test those guys. Now, Riley Moss, if you can challenge that guy, that's a little different, right? If you can go after Riley Moss a little bit, I'll take that. If you can challenge their linebackers in coverage a little bit with Noah Fant or a running back, sure. You want to take some shots against their safeties. They don't have Justin Simmons anymore. Do that, but be careful. I would like to see us control this game. I want to see us in calm and quiet control of this game. So I'm going to be looking for a team that runs the ball and throws it when they need to. Now, that's kind of what I want to see. I do think that at the end of the day, an offense run by Ryan Grubb is not going to be willing to embrace that because it's not in his nature. I don't think it's really in his character to just say, let's run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. I watched him for 2 years at Washington, and the only time I can recall him really doing that would be against USC, where Penix was having a good but not great game. Caleb Williams was kind of outplaying him, and at a certain point, I think Grubb realized that, look, USC cannot stop Dylan Johnson. So let's just get on Dillon Johnson's back and ride it all the way to this win. And we did, and he took us there. But that took a part of that game for him to get there. He had to see Penix throw a bad interception in that game. He had to see some of the issues that the team was having attacking the secondary. And then he had to see Dillon Johnson just absolutely annihilate that USC run defense to decide, you know what, this is the right thing to do. So in practice, I do think that you are going to see a pretty big aerial assault coming out. And unless it goes poorly, you're not going to see that switch. So I'm looking for this Seahawks team to do a lot of things that are, for lack of a better term, an extension of the run game in the pass game. Checkdowns, screens, especially bubble screens. I'd love to see some bubble screens in this game. Maybe some of those jet sweeps where it's actually a shovel pass. Maybe just things like that where it's not a run, but it feels like a run because it's so high percentage. Like what's the difference really? It's a run. What are we talking about here? A bubble screen is basically a handoff in the modern NFL. That's why a lot of teams like it so much. It gets a player out into space without you taking any real risk at the point of catch. So you want to hit those bubble screens? I would send a lot of them out there in a game like this. I would be doing that constantly. I would be dumping it off to my running backs constantly in this game, getting offensive linemen out in space in front of the running back and seeing if we can make some hay there. Test out some of these new elements to this offense that are supposed to be coming with the Grubb offense. And I would I would expect to see that. So Grubb is going to be who he's going to be, but let's do it the right way. So that's the offense. Defensively, I feel pretty good, right? You're playing Bo Nix, first ever game he's played. You've got this new defense that looked really good for the most part in the preseason, especially when the starters were out there. Not that they were out there a ton, but you showed the ability to get pressure. Not having Nwosu does suck. That's a blow. That changes things a little bit. But you've got a very future-focused offense. Like, they kept Courtland Sutton. They did. They kept some of the pieces on the offensive line. So it's not all a youth movement. But this team sent away Tim Patrick for nothing. This team sent away Samaje Perine for nothing. Tim Patrick may have been, before his injury at least, the best receiver on that team. Now, I understand that was 2 big injuries ago, but you look at that receiver room, you've got some pretty mediocre talents, and I do include Courtland Sutton in that, who has made some insane catches over the last couple of years, but I don't view him as being some superstar threat as a number 1 receiver. I don't think he's a true number 1 receiver in this league right now. And Tim Patrick could have helped that team right now. Samaje Perine could have probably helped that team right now. He might be their best running back. I don't know. It depends on where Javonte Williams is in his rehab. But if you let those guys go for nothing, because that's what happened. They cut them. They cut them for salary cap relief. You're sending a message that I'm not thinking about the present that much. Of course, we're going to go out there. We're going to play these games. We're going to try to win. But I want to keep players that are going to be part of the next great Broncos team, not this team. This Broncos team is the stepping stone to the next great Broncos team. And by the time we get to that next great Broncos team, Tim Patrick and Samaje Perine will not have much left, so why keep them around now? So that being the case, that being the approach, you're not going to get too many challenges this season that are easier to win than the challenge that you have facing this Denver offense. The main fear that I would have in this game would probably be the battle of the head coaches, where you have a rookie in his first ever NFL head coaching job versus a guy who's been a head coach for coming up on 20 years, right? The great Sean Payton, by the way. And I know it's kind of becoming trendy to say that Sean Payton's overrated and he's not a good coach anymore and this and that. No, Sean Payton is a great coach. And if he were to outduel Mike McDonald in this game on the back of his experience as a head coach, I wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't blow me away. I mean, yeah. You could even argue that maybe he should. You could even argue that as a 20-year veteran, it's your job to outduel a guy who is in his first ever NFL game as a head coach. And if you don't outduel him, that means you're doing something really wrong. But is it enough to overcome the talent deficiency here? Where I think about our corners against those receivers, I think about Devin Witherspoon, Reek Woolen, and Trey Brown against Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and Josh Reynolds. I'm sorry. Yeah, Josh Reynolds. And I look at that and I go, yeah, that should be a big Seahawks win. They should win that matchup constantly in this game. And if they're lighting up our zone defense, if Sean Payton and Bo Nix are doing a great job just picking apart our zone defense, we actually have a coach who's going to be willing to realize, you know what, I need to switch things up here. I need to do something different. I need to be more exotic. I need to switch to man. It's not going to be like Pete just standing there sitting in his cover 3 the whole game, waiting for something different to happen. No, we're going to have a coaching staff that is willing to actually force something different to happen. So I think that's a good matchup. Denver's offensive line is good, right? They've got Garrett Bowles. They've got maybe the best right guard out there in Quinn Miners. He's worked out really well. They got Ben Powers. McGlinchey's a really good run blocker. If there's a weakness up there, it's probably Wattenberg, former Husky, by the way, at center. But it's a good offensive line overall. And I think that if there's a way that Denver wins this game, it's because they just dominate the ground. And that's the one way Denver winning this game makes sense to me in my head. They just grind it out. They just run the ball a bunch. They have success on the ground. And they never force Bo Nix to make a stressful throw. That's how you lose this game. It would be kind of like 2 years ago, that game we lost to Carolina, where Sam Darnold was the quarterback of the Panthers, and we never made him do anything because we could not stop the run. And we had a few turnovers on offense, and it just got away from us. So, as long as you stop the run here, and you will not catch me, I'll say it again, you will not catch me very many times this year talking about stopping the run and running the ball. But if you stop the run in this game and you force Bo Nix to be stressed out, force him to really try to break down our defense and process what's in front of him, and not get to just make one easy read and then take off and run, then can't imagine losing this game. 24-13 Seahawks is what I got. Feeling pretty good. Kick it out of the back of the end zone on the kickoffs, by the way, please. That would be another way to lose this game. Don't need that in my life. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think. That's my preview.